from the Oak Wall Studio in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Hello, this is Jesse Oakley III, and welcome to the Yoke Zone, where we provide positive words of wisdom for the happy people. Now, normally I would do my Oak Zone episodes Monday through Friday to give you positive words of wisdom for you, the happy people. But on Sunday, you're in for a real special treat. I have the Oak Zone Sunday Morning Chat Series, where I get the chance to interview a plethora of positive people making a big difference in their communities. From yoga instructors to speakers to authors to teachers, whoever's making a positive difference in their communities, you are going to hear from them and as they share their words of wisdom and some solid advice. I am excited for this wonderful episode. Once I heard that this person was going to be on the Sunday Morning Chat Series, I was 100% thrilled. What's the best way that I can describe this person? I can describe her as nothing more than a triple threat. She is a great actress, she is a great author, and she is a fantastic singer. That is the dynamic triple threat that is in my opinion. And I feel so blessed and so grateful to have this person on my show for today, talking about the beauty of being an author. So please help me welcome, without any further delay, none other than Melanie Hope. Melanie, how are you doing?
Well, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. And without further delay, let's chat.
Let's chat.
All right. Now, how long have you been an author?
I wrote my first book after my life pretty much dissolved in 2007-8.
Okay.
And it's been, I almost wrote a book a year up until the last 2 years when things kind of got crazy. And I'm in the process of 4 more books that I need to get done, 2 of which I hope to get done this month.
Oh, awesome. That is
That isn't published, like they're written. I just need to get them published.
Hey, that's extremely awesome. You are truly the right person to actually become an author, and I really appreciate you for the great accomplishments that you are doing right now. Now, how many? And this is about to lead into the next question that I have for you. How many books have you written or about to write overall?
So I have 5 that are published in hardcover, available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and all those places. I have 1 that is just a Kindle Nook version. I have 4 ebooks, and then I have, like I said, 5 that I'm finishing up, 2 that should be published this year.
Wow, that is a lot of books. And if you want to go look up Melanie Hope, chances are you'll see one of those many books, whether it's physical or on Nook. You just
I got a couple here. I'm sold out of one of the other ones, but this was my first book. And this is kind of what led me to the path of being a professional speaker. But this is the one I speak out of the most. And then I've also been doing a lot. The reason why some of my books have been on hold is because I've been writing webinars and teaching a lot in that arena.
Cool, cool. Now, you just got to make me a quick promise, okay? Whatever book that you get, because I would just want a nice autographed copy of one of your books.
You're always the first on my list, Jesse.
All right, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Okay, now, how again did you get started as an author?
My mother was an author. She published 4 books that are still live today, even though she's not. She was a historical novelist. And I started writing, gosh, I think in kindergarten, I started writing these crazy little stories about a lion. And they were really bad. I mean, I was a kindergartner, but in 3rd grade, a program in King County, Washington started a program called the Young Authors Conference, which I think is now, it went state and now I think it's national. And so we, as little kids, we would write books about anything as part of our English class. And then we would bind them and give them little covers and everything and illustrate them. And then the teacher would pick some of them to enter into a school-wide contest. And I won in 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. And then in 7th grade, I entered a contest called the Reflections Contest, which is a national contest. And one of my poems went national. And I got to go visit the Washington Capitol Olympia and see my poem on display with all these amazing artworks. And I still have the journal they gave me that said that I was a National Reflections winner. And I kind of kept it to myself It's not something I ever really pursued. It was just something I enjoyed doing. So I wrote a lot of poems, and I've been published in several, mostly my poetry and my short stories have been published in several literary magazines, including Tahoma West, which is the famous one from University of Washington. And then I just kind of didn't think about it anymore, became an accountant, and life happened. And and then when my mom started writing, because I did so much with editing, and I had a keen eye for that. I was her beta reader. And when she started publishing her books, I thought, okay, well, fiction is her world. So if I were to ever write a book, I'm going to write a nonfiction book. And then a bunch of life happened. And then I found myself in the middle of a nasty divorce and homeless and in a wheelchair and really feeling sorry for myself. And that's when this book started coming into fruition. And it wasn't until I met Jim, one of your other interviewees, that he really, because I had written a significant portion of this after I literally got back on my feet, metaphorically, physically, emotionally, spiritually, everything. But I just never thought, oh, I should publish it, because I was focused on my mother so much. And he's like, forget your mother. This is your book. You need to publish it. And it was really with him guiding me and telling me to go forward and do it that I did. And then when he found out my idea for Nose to Nose Networking, which was translating the canine experience into the human experience as far as networking, friend building, and getting into and out of conversations and things like that, he thought it was brilliant, and he was really into photography. So he did all the photography for that, and that pushed that one forward. And that's going to turn into a trilogy, because like I said, I've done a lot of speaking out of that one. So as long as we still have Abby, she's going to be our spokesdog. But yeah, I've been a writer. I think I was born with crayons and pencils in my hand, honest to goodness. I think I have files of things that I wrote. I used to write poems to my grandma. I remember writing letters to Santa from my baby sister. I used to, yeah, I think I started writing in kindergarten, writing and reading, and I started right then. So just always been part of me.
I tell you, that's quite a history that you have there. And I'm quite amazed and quite excited about the whole process and the whole journey that you went through to actually become the author that you are right now. This is truly fantastic. Now, what were some of the challenges that you faced as an author?
I think the biggest challenge that most authors face is getting started. I mean, there are so many people out there who have a book, but never have the book. And the biggest challenge a lot of us have is, first of all, just getting started. And then second of all, editing as you write. That's the hardest thing to overcome. And so when I teach my students, even whether they're doing a college thesis or a dissertation or a book, or even just a paper in grade school, I tell them, okay, the first thing you do is you pin down your idea and you get it as laser focused as you can, because that will actually help you. You'll have more than you know what to do with. And the second thing you do is what I call brain vomit. Just get it out. It doesn't have to be good. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't even have to make sense. Just get it out. And once that's done, you can't abandon it. You know, you want to fix it. You want to play with it. You want to manipulate it. And that's kind of what I did with my first book. Most of that was written while I talked into a little, back then it was a little tape recorder, remember those teeny tiny little tapes? Yep. While I was playing fetch with, at the time, Abby was a puppy. And, you know, I didn't have fancy computer. I didn't have, you know, other than an old version, a billion-year-old version of Word, I didn't have anything fancy. I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew that I had these ideas and I had to get them out. And I had some research to do and some cross-referencing to do. So whenever that idea came up, I talked it, and then I'd go back and I'd transcribe it. And that's what got that book out. And then finally the push, and I recommend this to any novelist, but I cheated and did 3 self-help books. And this is coming up here this month, is National Novel Writing Month, where you literally midnight, October 31st, you start writing, and by midnight, November 1st, you have a 50,000 word novel. And it doesn't have to be good. It doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to be done. And then you spend the next year editing. So, yeah, so I challenged Jim to that too, and he's actually done it a couple of times.
Oh.
Yeah, he hasn't published them yet, but he's going to do it again this year. He's got some ideas, and then we've been doing a lot of writing with our program, our podcast, and it's just been so much fun seeing his writing just flourish, because it's not really something he thought of that much until he's funny. He's really funny. So he could write for Saturday Night Live, only they'd be funny again. So yeah,
Oh,
he's
man.
very creative, and I love, I tease him that we have kind of this Lennon McCartney thing going on, because I'll come up with an idea and he'll spin it, or he'll come up with an idea and I'll spin it, and then when we meet up again, we're like, oh my gosh, that was so good. Who came up with that idea? It's like, it was you. Yeah, so it's been working out pretty good. And then recently I just started doing something, and that's another thing that I challenge one of the authors to do is do it. Just do it. Don't make excuses. Don't wait. Don't think that you have to be a scholar or a perfect writer, because if you wait for perfection, you're just going to be waiting forever. And perfectionists are the worst procrastinators on the planet. And trust me, do I know this? Just get her done. And I'm actually pushing my baby cousin to do this. He just turned 20, and he's been talking about writing books. And we've been, he lives up in Washington, and he's my favorite cousin's kid, but he's the only one who's political. So he calls me because nobody else in his family will talk to him about politics. So we just call him, we'll talk for hours. His mom thinks it's hilarious. And he's been talking about this fantasy novel he wants to write. I'm like, well, why haven't you written it? No, excuse and excuse and excuse. I'm like, send me the first chapter. He's like, I don't have a first chapter. I'm like, send me the first chapter next Monday. And you know what, Jesse? We just read his first chapter this Monday.
Yes.
Yeah. In fact, he's already written the second chapter. So, sometimes you just need that little nudge, and sometimes it needs to come from outside. But just do it.
And again, great words about just doing it. It's all that 2% action. That 2% action can lead to 98% of the results that could follow through when you actually take those first steps.
And that's the other thing is don't compare yourself to other people. Now, that's been a kind of a hard one for me too. And a lot of authors will do that. When I'll get something from Amazon, and or the publisher, and it'll be like, hey, you've received a royalty check of $6.37. And I'm like, yay. And then I'm like, no, wait a minute. How many people have said they want to write a book and have never actually seen a royalty check? This $6.37 is a bajillion times more than everybody who's ever said they wanted to write a book and didn't.
And being a personal author myself, I actually framed my first royalty check that I got.
I still got the first dollar of my dream board. I cashed the check and put the dollar up there.
Oh man, yeah. Oh man.
And if anybody had ever told me that I would actually make money speaking or writing, I would have laughed in their face. I thought I was going to be doomed to be an accountant for the rest of my life. And now it's like I've got this really bizarre skill set. And between the accounting, and when I was a kid, I wanted to be a veterinarian, so I did pre-vet classes. And then life happened, and I was told I'd never walk again, so I took accounting classes. And don't tell me what I can't do, because I'm walking baby. But all this stuff happened, and so then I ended up with my bachelor's in communications. And so my best friend, who you've met, she once said, so what you're telling me is you can motivate my deaf cat while you're spaying it and doing its taxes. I'm like, yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
But now, after I've traveled a significant portion of the world, most of the states, I've taught everything from Excel to, how to write for different audiences, how to get into and out of conversations. I've done all kinds of different programs. I've really kind of found my place with kids who need that really bizarre skill set. So I have kids that I teach in English, calculus, American Sign Language, and all in one session. And it's like, who has that? And it's just the weirdest, most bizarre skill set, and I love every second of it. And now I'm doing something else I never thought I would do. I've been told my whole life that I can't draw. I don't have an artistic bone in my body. And now I'm doing animations. So it's just try it. And if you don't like it, don't do it. But don't expect to be good at it the first time, but keep doing it until you either get good at it or love it and it doesn't matter, or both.
Amen, Melanie. Amen. Now, I tell you what, when it comes to being an author, what were some of the biggest opportunities of actually becoming an author for you?
Right, a lot. And if there's one thing that authors do, it's read. So read a lot. And I'll be honest, once you get in the arena of writing and speaking, you start meeting a lot of other authors. So a significant portion of my books are autographed copies from people that I've actually met. And I'm not saying that to brag or anything. It's just really cool when you open up a book and it's like dedicated to you or something like that. And it's not because, you know, you sat on your butt waiting to get good. It was because you went out there and met people. And I take chances. I do. I mean, I've contacted people that 2 years ago I wouldn't have had the guts to talk to. And now it's like we're Twitter buddies, you know, and it's just, don't be afraid, be fearless. The worst thing that could possibly happen is nothing.
Oh my
You know,
goodness.
that's the worst thing that could possibly happen. And you can make nothing come true anytime. So why bother with that? If that's what you want, you can make that come true any other time. But in the meantime, do something. And, you know, I've had to overcome trials and tribulations. I mean, I've had to overcome significant health issues, you know, the loss of my best friend, the loss of my mother, the loss of my father, all within 3 years, you know, homelessness, you know, divorce, abuse. I mean, things that people should just be by now, but
Yep.
keeping yourself busy and working that out is, I think, what keeps you sane. And for those people who look to, you know, drugs or alcohol or sex or just, you know, laid in a ditch and giving up, I mean, that's a choice, but not doing that is a choice as well. And you know, every time I go to a program, even if I'm not the one speaking, and I see the light in someone's eyes when they learn something, it's like, you know, that's my world. That's my world. Every time I see that spark of somebody catching on to something, or like just today when I was showing this kid how to figure out how to solve for x as an exponent, and he's like, well, wait a minute. No, wait. No, I just got it. I'm like, that, like my whole world is just like sunshine. And when I have those moments, it's really exciting, you know. So that's what I want to give to other people. So I'll take, you know, I'm not teaching or writing about anything that people haven't heard of before. I'm just doing it from a different angle. And you never know when that right angle will really hit the person where they need it. So yeah, and that's the thing I do recommend for authors, whether you're doing fiction or nonfiction, self-help, whatever, you have a voice and your voice is different. And even if you think it's the tired old, same old, how many times have you cracked open a Bible and you've read the thing a billion times, but today that passage meant something to you? Well, you could be that passage to somebody. Not that, you know, we're all as good as the Bible, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So no, just get started. The best opportunities I've ever had is when I've just said, get over yourself. Just get over yourself and talk to that person. There was one person in particular, this happened recently, and you were there at a Toastmasters big event.
Mm-hmm.
And you had invited a comedian, I'm not going to mention her name, but she's amazing. And somebody that I've looked up to for a long time, and I got to talk to her one-on-one. I fangirled so hard. I embarrassed myself, but I talked to her. I have her card. You know, we're still in touch. You know, take a chance. Just take a chance. Yeah, and then you have those weird little moments, you know, where you just, they'll tell you a joke, or they'll give you some insight, or they'll just offer something that they don't even realize they're offering you, and you take that. I mean, you're one of my mentors. Your lovely wife is one of my mentors. I mean, I'm surrounded by people who have different skills and different sets of skills and different outlooks on life that help me see the world differently and make me a better person. And just be open to that, because you never know where you'll find that. You never know where you'll find that.
Never know. You never know.
And it always ends up in a book or a speech somehow.
Exactly. And that's how it can go, definitely. Now, besides what you've already mentioned beforehand, is there any other way that anyone can also become an author?
Depending on the genre that they want to go to, there is a lot of opportunity on the internet. I actually led to one of my seminar companies that I work with now, which I probably do 1 or 2 seminars for them a month now and get paid, was because I was writing short articles for places like eZine and trying to think of the name of them. Can't think of all of them, but they're places where they take articles that you write, and it, like, somebody will ask a question, and it started out with things like, you know, how do I get over my fear of speaking? And so I would write an article, and you know, they screen it and everything, and they publish it.
Mm-hmm.
And so those became kind of a way of saying, yeah, I'm out here, I've been published, here's multiple works I have out there, so now I'm legit. Oh yeah, and by the way, I have a book. And then that becomes part of your what do they call that? Your portfolio, I guess.
Yes. Yes.
And so they actually will copy those, since I always keep your rights, always. So never give away your rights. So I'm able to republish those. I'm able to use those as white papers. I'm able to use those in my portfolio. Any place that tells you that you have to pay them to publish, don't. There's way too many opportunities out there where you can either, when you're first starting out, publish for free, or put it on a site where it's monetized, where there's like ad revenue, or just get paid. And I've done all three.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, you just gave amazing story and amazing journey about being an author, and it is just truly phenomenal, especially this episode, because when it comes to exploding information, I knew I could count on you, Melanie. Hope to actually blow up and talk about the wonderful world and your journey of being an author. I really appreciate that. Now, is there anyone that you would like to give a huge shout out to in this episode?
Well, more people than the episode has time for, but I will start first of all with you. You are one of my favorite people on this beautiful planet, and I do not take that lightly. I do not say that about many people. And of course, your lovely wife, who's always too busy and important to be around it. Of course, my best friend, my husband, and my dearest friend, who is sadly not with us anymore, Lexi. She was my biggest cheerleader, and I can honestly say I never would have pursued speaking. I never would have written my first book without her. And I never would have had a lot of the experiences that I wrote about without her. My whole disastrous trip to Rome, which turned into, a semifinal speech,
Yeah.
was because of her. So, and my mom, she was an odd duck. She was Mama Duck. But her writing and her pursuing that, and I remember her working as a medical biller and having to take a bus across town all the way into downtown Seattle, which I don't wish on anyone, and her hating every second of it, and her literally writing longhand on legal pads her first 3 novels, and then coming home and typing them. And it's like, well, how many people have that story, have that word that they want to get out so bad that they're willing to sit on a 2-hour bus ride, sometimes in the pouring down rain, to go to a job that they despise, while they're literally writing out longhand their novels and full-size novels. And she got them published, and they're good. They're still available. It's called the Lady Night series. You can find it on Amazon to this day, and I will keep them up there forever because I have the rights to them, and that's my homage to her. She wrote funny stories. I remember her putting children's stories in my lunchbox as a kid. And then she wrote a series of children's stories that my sister has the storyboard pictures of framed on her wall, because one of the elves in her story was named after my sister. Actually, my sister was named after the elf, but don't tell her that.
Oh. I didn't hear anything.
So my mom was one of those people that, even though life didn't go in the direction she wanted to, and she never became a famous author, I still was able to give her the gift of a book signing tour that I put together for her. I mean, granted, it was a Federal Way and Kent, but she still got to sit in a bookstore, she still got to sell books, and she still got to have people line up to buy her books and get her autographs. So that was pretty cool. And how many people can say that? How many people have that story? And so I do owe a lot to her, because I think if I could have looked at my mom's, she died way too young, and tragically of something just out of the blue. And yet she still had that legacy because she took that chance. And wouldn't it suck if you're on your deathbed and you're like, great, I have all the stuff I want to do that I never got started on? I'd rather leave a billion things half started and not finished, and only a couple things done, than to leave with all those things I wish I would have done. So
Excellent insight, Melanie. Excellent insight. Now, when people look at this video and this episode are witnessed by happy people all over the world. If you have any more words of wisdom that you like to share with the happy people that are out there, what will it be?
We say this at the end of every podcast. Be kind to yourself, be kind to animals, and be kind to each other. But most of all, be kind to yourself. Because if you can't be kind to yourself, you can't be kind to anybody.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? On behalf of all the happy people that are all over the world, I'd like to thank you for taking the time out to do this interview for the Oak Zone Sunday morning chat series. Really appreciate this.
Thank you, Jesse. You're a
And
joy.
thank you. Now, if you want more plethora of positivity, all you have to go do is go to YouTube, type in my name, Jesse Oakley III, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell, and you'll receive your plethora of positivity, whether it is a regular Oak Zone episode or the Sunday morning chat series where you get the chance to listen to wise words from amazing people like Melanie. You can actually do that, and it is truly easy to do. All you have to do is just go to YouTube, type in my name, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and you will have all this positive words of wisdom waiting for you. Until then, hey people, this has been Jesse Oakley III speaking. Take care, and remember, have an awesome day. Bye.